Well, thank you all for toughing it out. It's a day like today that you actually appreciate New York State's infrastructure. So, in an effort to reduce my carbon footprint, I'm going to try to be brief. It's a politician with a microphone, though, so I warn you. In short, I think you've got a great list of speakers here who are going to talk a lot more cogently about the EPF, but from a local perspective, the EPF is a great environmental investment in all of our local municipalities. Again, hundreds of millions of dollars spread out, of course, across hundreds of municipalities. But it's also a great economic and financial benefit to local governments. One great example in my own local county, Ulster County, is our recycling center, which is actually being done under the auspices of the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency. A $2 million grant from the EPF, along with $2 million in local share, local contribution, resulted in a facility that is actually paying itself off. We actually have received $1.4 million each of the past 2 years in increased recycling dollars back to the county, helping to basically pay this facility off. And that's just within 2 years. At the end of the day, the EPF means jobs, it means economics, it's good financial sense. I believe that the governor, at the end of the day, and I'm really hopeful, along with the legislature, will realize that keeping the real estate tax as well as the better bottom bill will end up benefiting local municipalities. It'll end up being a reinvestment back in our infrastructure. At a time in which dollars are much more scarce, at a time in which the President of the United States is talking about increased dollars for infrastructure, New York State must step up to the plate. Thank you.
And our last speaker today is Andy Bicking from Scenic Hudson.
Thank you, Adrian. Good morning. My name is Andy Bicking, Director of Public Policy for Scenic Hudson, the 35,000 strong member organization working to protect and restore the Hudson River and its majestic landscapes as an irreplaceable national treasure and vital resource for residents and visitors. Environmental funding is a strategic investment. It's also sound policy. This morning, you are hearing a consistent message from diverse groups throughout the state that investments in the environment are critical tools for economic stimulus. The EPF is legislatively mandated to grow to $300 million in the coming year, and the real estate transfer tax must be retained. We also need the legislature and the governor to pass the bigger, better bottle bill. These strategic, well-thought-out economic stimulus policies and capital investments in the state's green infrastructure will leverage significant returns. I want to take a moment to provide an example of how this can play out in the Hudson Valley, as well as a few examples for the rest of New York State. And a word on public-private partnerships. In my region of the state, a coalition of 15 land trusts organizations have collaborated to conserve 65,000 acres of land along the Hudson River corridor. This creates a great opportunity for New York State to partner with the land trust community. A commitment, say, by the Paterson administration to fund the protection of just 15,000 of these acres over a 10-year period through the Environmental Protection Fund would not only be a fitting legacy for the Hudson-Fulton-Champlain Quadricentennial, but be a wise investment. Every dollar invested in this campaign by the state would be matched by approximately $2.31 by the region's land trust community, federal sources, or localities. But we also know that environmental dollars spent in the region are critical to attracting outside investment in businesses. A recent national survey of 2,000 corporate executives, site selection consultants, and real estate brokers by the Hudson Valley Economic Development Corporation revealed that the words most associated with the region were scenic beauty and nature. Respondents also regarded the valley's quality of life as the region's greatest strength. Tourism data also suggests that the success of the region's $4.5 billion tourism industry depends on the cultural landscape and the natural environment. Programs like the Hudson River Estuary Program, waterfront revitalization, smart growth, and quadricentennial grants funded through the EPF help deliver on this promise. The economic impact of the EPF is also felt throughout the state. The solid waste, open space, solar training, parks and urban forest programs, just to name a few, realize many of these benefits and are critical to the work of local government, as you've heard today. To cite just one example from an emerging industry, we have a great opportunity to invest in green collar jobs, things that relate to solar technology, solar jobs training, to really create a culture of innovation, but also investing in the new economy. In the last 3 years alone, the cost of electricity in the Northeast has increased almost 38%, and the cost of home heating oil has nearly doubled. We are certainly aware that investments in alternative energy can help mitigate this problem, and by investing in a new industry, we'll also be creating significant employment opportunities. The Environmental Protection Fund is a fairly small portion of the state budget, yet it has huge economic implications. By investing in the environment, New York can create jobs, support local businesses, protect property values, and reduce local property tax burdens. The economic benefits, as well as the protection of natural resources and public health, must be preserved in the next state budget. We all know that tough choices have to be made in response to the current fiscal crisis, but we have to make sure that our elected officials remember that investments in the environment pay big dividends for our economy, health, and our future. Thank you.
Thank you. So the bottom line today is that the Environmental Protection Fund must be preserved because it provides an economic boost to our local economies. In tough economic times, it makes good sense to keep jobs, keep tourism, and keep local economies alive and well. That's the way out of recession. Taking away monies from our local governments and our local economies will put us deeper into a recession. The EPF has protected watersheds, protected drinking water, has kept beaches open. And this day and age, when people are replacing vacations with staycations, having clean, open beaches is really something of a necessity. But in order for those beaches to be open, they need to be clean. In order for people to want to stay locally, we need to have zoos, botanical gardens, and aquaria, which the EPF funds. We need to have scenic places. We need to have farmlands. We need to have forested lands. These are the reasons why we have a thriving tourism industry in New York. That brings us local jobs and a healthy local economy. We're not saying choose us over everyone else. We're saying choose us because it helps everyone else. And that is the heart of why we work to protect the environment. It's about keeping our economies thriving, protecting a quality of life, and also helping every single New Yorker have a better and healthier future. It is a very, very small part of the budget. And to extract 73% of the EPF and take that monies from the rent and put it into the general black hole of the budget is really a remedy for economic failure in New York State. Let me take a minute here and just have people introduce themselves and the organization that they represent so you can understand the diversity of support that the Friends of New York brings to protecting the Environmental Protection Fund.
I'm Roger Downs from Sierra Club Atlantic chapter.
Sure, again.
I'm Lori Tenike, and I'm here today representing Indian Ladder Farms. I also am a consultant for American Farmland Trust.
Hector Rodriguez, Ulster County Legislature, legislator New Paltz, Chair of Economic Development, Housing, Planning, and Transit.
There you go.
Allison Jenkins, Environmental Advocates of New York.
Tim Sweeney from Parks and Trails, New York.
Laura Height from Nyberg.
Dave Gibson, the Association for the Protection of the Adirondacks.
Alana Cadell, Adirondack Council.
Sean Mahar from Lockwood, New York.
Andy Bicking, Scenic Hudson.
Joe Martens, President of the Open Space Institute.
Liz Brock, American Farmland Trust. Katrina Howie, Land Trust Alliance.
Allison Beals, the Adirondack Mountain Club.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Do you have any questions or?
Governor Paterson has basically said that cuts are inevitable. I'm sure all of you know that. But,
We've heard that.
so are there any, I guess I'm wondering, are there any significant projects that you have already budgeted for that may be in danger if the EPF is cut again?
Well, yes, some particular ones that kind of leap to mind, and unfortunately the folks from New York City couldn't come today because of weather. But zoos and botanical gardens and aquaria are funded out of the EPF. And there was a mid-year proposal to cut them, which fortunately did not happen, but it would have devastated the zoos and botanical gardens and aquarium. And those really are places that in urban areas allow for urban communities to experience the natural world. And to take that away, I think takes away an educational and tourist opportunity, an educational opportunity for urban society, but also a tourist opportunity that brings dollars into those urban areas.